propounded to the end that ultimately people believe it to be the truth. Thus, Christianity became, in essence, like Babylonian Heathenism, with only a veneer of Christian names. This is by Forgers of the Word. That's the book name, 1983, Victor Paul Wierwille. Long ago, right after the flood, a man named Nimrod emerged on the scene of history. His name means "let us rebel." He led the founding of the first great civilization, Babylon. He led them to rebel against God. He had tremendous power, so much that he became a god in the people's eyes. When he died, his wife, Semiramis, recognized that without him, she might lose power herself. Look how early they're looking for power to form this religion. So she devised a clever plan. Semiramis was pregnant, and she told everyone that the child in her womb was none other than Nimrod being reborn. This was the beginning of the greatest perversion, the concept of the Father-Son deity, the very first incomprehensible divine trinity, the unexplainable mystery. Resurrection Sunday and the Babylonian Collections by Errol Hale. Now Christmas, meaning the death of Christ, not the birth of Christ, because Mass is a Catholic term that means death. Unlike Christians who condemn birthday celebrations as a form of idolatry, the apostate church adopted the pagan Babylonian birthday celebration of Nimrod. The real origin of Christmas is in ancient Babylon. History recording the sacredness with which the winter solstice, December 25th, was celebrated in the cradle of demon worship, satanic worship, heathen customs in the Christian church by moral Venice. Notice I'm giving you citations at the end of the video. These are the citations right now I'm giving you. Christmas and Easter, these spurious counterfeit holy days, represent a compromise with paganism and an attempt on the part of the church to convert the heathens by meeting them halfway. We have learned that this deception came into the Christian church by way of the open demon worship of the ancient Babylonians. Heathen customs in the Christian church, the same book. People today calling themselves Christian keep the Babylonian festivals of solstice at Christmas and of Easter, which is the festival of Ishtar, the ancient fertility goddess of Babylon. Nimrod and the false religion, adapted from chapter 5 of the Bible story, volume 1 by Basil Wolverton. Christmas began in Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon, over 4,000 years ago. That's way before Jesus. Isn't that way before Jesus? Because Jesus came around when? 2,000 years ago? So that's about almost double the lifespan, or lifetime. Christmas, long before the 1st century, and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathens. At that precise time of the year, in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven. And it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of normal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 93. Christmas in Babylon. Even back in the ancient Babylon, in the birth of Tammuz was celebrated in our December, in their December. The heathen sun worshippers throughout the northern hemisphere all celebrated the rebirth of the sun at the time of its turning back towards the north. That is about December 25th. What is Christmas? That's the name of the book, by E.G. Cook. Immortality of the Human Soul. That's another subtitle. Unlike early Christianity, where hope for dead was in a resurrection, ancient Babylonian religion taught a belief in an immortal soul that lived on after death. After death of the souls of men were supposed to continue in existence. Belief of ancient Babylon, the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 1960, Volume 1, page 373. That's another quote. Immortality, we have seen, engaged the serious attention of the Babylonian theologians. That was a passage to another kind of life. The religion of Babylonia and Assyria, Boston, 1898, M. Jastrow Jr., page 556. The vast majority of people have come to believe Satan's lie, that no matter what they do, they shall not die. Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. But become like gods by living forever. Become like gods. Look at the words. Okay, hear this. This doctrine of natural immortality can be traced through the muddy channels of a corrupted Christianity, a perverted Judaism, a pagan philosophy, a superstitious idolatry, to the great investigator of mischief in the Garden of Eden. The Protestants borrowed it from the Catholics, and the Catholics borrowed it from the Pharisees, and the Pharisees from the pagans, and the pagans from the old serpent, who first preached the doctrine amid the lowly bowls of paradise to an audience all too willing to hear and heed the new and fascinating theology. Ye shall not surely die. That's some good quotes right there. I like the quotes. Methodist Congregationalist Clergyman, that's the book name, Amos Phelps. No, actually that's a person that was born in 1805 and died in 1874. Immortality of the Soul, 1925. This is what I'm quoting now. The belief that soul continues its existence after the dissolution of the body is nowhere taught in the Holy Scriptures. The belief in the immortal soul came chiefly through the philosophy of Plato, in which Babylonian and Egyptian views were strangely blended. That's by the Jewish Encyclopedia, Immortality of Souls, 1925. Nowhere in the Bible is the immortality of the soul taught. Nowhere is the soul distinct from the body taught. A notion which has been erroneously derived from heathen philosophers, Jameson, Faust, and Brown. Okay, our soul is immortal and has judges and pays the utmost penalties whenever a man is rid of his body. Plato, pagan philosopher, 7th letter, and stuff. That was his 7th letter. Alright, now this is another quote. If you have fallen in with some who are called Christians, who say there is no resurrection of the dead, but rather that their souls, when they die, are taken to heaven, do not imagine they are Christians. Justin Martyr, Dialogue with Trypho, chapter 8, in the Ante-Nicene Fathers, in volume 1, page 294. The first lie is Genesis chapter 3, verse 14. Ye shall not surely die is a Satan's masterpiece of deception, which has caused most to believe that we possess immortal souls. I'm just reading from the article. Hellfire torment. Unlike early Christianity, which believed in eternal life on a paradise earth as the supreme reward, Matthew chapter 5, verse 5, and everlasting destruction as the final punishment, Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 to 14, ancient Babylon's religion espoused a place of eternal torment. In ancient Babylon, the nether world is pictured as a place full of horrors, and is presided over by gods and demons of great strength and fierceness. The religion of Babylonia and Syria, Boston, 1898, Morris Jastrow Jr., page 581. Easter, unlike Christianity, which observed the memorial of Jesus' death on the Passover, Nisan 14. The apostate church adopted the pagan springtime resurrection fashion after the Babylonian fertility goddess Easter. Ishtar, and Assyrian names for Semiramis of ancient Babylon. Does the name Ishtar sound like Easter? I think it does. Does it Well, it should. It is the same. Death and resurrection of the false gods were celebrated annually in the spring. This celebration included coloring eggs, an ancient symbol of fertility. The ancient even hide eggs for children to find. Rabbits, known for their prolific reproduction, also became part of the pagan celebration, Resurrection Sunday, and the Babylonian connection by Errol Hale. Easter takes its name from Ishtar, the Babylonian fertility goddess, and the Assyrian goddess of love and fertility. Ashtar, also called Easter or Ishtar, was the goddess of sex, sense, maternity, and fertility. A great pagan custom celebrating the return of spring gravitated to Easter. The rabbit is a pagan symbol and has always been an emblem of fertility. Catholic Encyclopedia. And also that I got this quote above from 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 5 and 2 Kings chapter 23 verse 13 about that story being Ishtar, Easter. Easter, she was also the goddess of love, and her name was Ishtar in Babylonia. World Book Volume 1, 782. It's interesting that this holy day of liturgical Christian year, Easter Sunday, bears the name of the Babylonian pagan goddess Easter and the pagan sun god Solus, sunrise and Sunday worship. This is by Charles Panatti, Sacred Origins of Profound Things, New York, Penguin Books, USA, Inc., 1996, page 205. As at Christmas, so also at Easter, popular customs reflect many ancient pagan survivals. Also, in this instance, connected with spring fertility rites, such as the symbols of Easter egg and the Easter hare or rabbit. The Encyclopedia Britannica, 15th edition, Macropedia, volume 4, page 605, church year. Notice all my works is quoted. Easter, as stored, the name is cognate with Babylonian Ishtar, the goddess of sensual love, maternity, and fertility. The sexual worship was conducted in honor of her. Ugner's Bible Dictionary, pages 412 to 413. The term Easter is not of a Christian origin. It is another form of Astarte, one of the titles of Chaldean Babylonian goddess. The pagan festival of Easter was introduced into the apostate Western religion as part of the attempt to adapt pagan festivals of Christianity. Vine's Complete Expository Dictionary of the Old Testament and New Testament Words, 1985, page 192, Easter. Easter, in Babylonia, Ishtar was the goddess of erotic love and fertility. Her chief seat of worship was Uruk, Babylon, where prostitution was practiced in her name. And she was served with immoral rites by bands of men and women. The International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, 1979, volume 1, pages 319 to 320. Now this is the part I want to get to. I was reading all this so I get proof that you understand the subject in more detail. I was giving you so many quotes from so many sources so you can check it out. Now, the veneration of the cross. That's the one I would like to hit on. The cross. Where did he get it from? Unlike the early Christians who shunned all images and visual aids as a form of idolatry, the apostate church adopted the pagan veneration of the cross of ancient Babylon. Hope you hear me. The practice of this making the sign of a cross originated in Babylon. Where? Babylon. As people paid homage to their Messiah Tammuz, the two Babylons, Alexander Hislop. It was not until Christianity became to be paganized, because Christianity was Islam, that the cross came to be the type of a Christian symbol. Babylon Mystery Religion, Ralph Wardrow, page 50. The magic virtues attributed to the so-called